I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Today I have Miss Alyssa. She is a digital product strategist, and she is also the host of the Brilliant Ideas podcast, which you should totally go check out if you have not before. She's obsessed with helping solopreneurs understand what makes their audiences say yes, which is what we need. With a background in sales funnels and over 450K made from digital product sales, Alyssa focuses on the moments before the sale, what your audience thinks, feels, and decides before they ever click buy. So we're going to talk all about that today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. So first, let's get into real quick. I just wanted to talk about how, as a professional organizer, does a lead magnet make sense? And the reason I'm asking this is because I remember when I first got started, I used to think, oh, well, having a freebie or a lead magnet, that's just for people that do stuff online, right? Like I'm a local service provider, so I don't know how that could be of benefit to me, or I don't plan on doing email marketing right now. So I don't know that I really need to build out my email list. So could you talk a little bit about why it's essential even as local service providers?
Yes, of course. And I think this is the myth or the trap that we get sucked into, that if we have a local business, why the heck do we need to have an opt-in page for people to opt in? And I think the biggest thing that we need to remember is that people are visiting your website. So when you think about someone who visits the website for the first time, they don't know you. This is a cold lead, somebody who doesn't know you at all. Maybe they haven't visited any of your socials on social media. They don't know you, that you are a local business yet. Maybe they're on Google. You have to think in the mind of the person who is looking for organizing support. Maybe they haven't heard of you before. And so what you want to do is you want to have something on your website like a checklist or a decluttering plan or like a challenge or something where they can opt in to get resources to get to know you better. Because when we think of the funnel, we think of attract, interact, convert, and then you have the buyer. And so at the top of the funnel, we have attract. And when you have something on your website that, gives them some information about, hey, like I'm a decluttering expert. This is what I do. And so they're gonna be like, yes, I want tips or I want strategies. I want something. And, you don't have to have just like one lead magnet. You can have free resources on your website. And that is a very attractive thing to have because that starts the trust process. You're building trust, authority. And it's something that I think is a non-negotiable. You should have a lead magnet on your website, whether or not you are local or not, because there's people who are coming to your website who may even not be local, but they're still visiting your website. They're going to go on your website and see that, oh, okay, so this person maybe only can service me locally and not if if I don't live in that area, maybe they can't help me. But if you have like a lead magnet on your website, then they can still opt in. You can still send them emails. And then, if you do have like an online type of offer, then you can, send it to them. But I think, the main point of all of this is that you definitely need some kind of opt-in to start the process of building trust, or else they're just going to visit your website and have nowhere to go unless they contact you directly. It's something else where they can sign up to your emails and then you can start selling to them, telling them more about your business, about your story, and start the process of start the process of you finally getting their business.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think even you said it, where for a lot of us, we do have the go straight to our contact form. But I think we forget those are for the people that are ready right now. Like they're getting a hold of us because they're ready. A lot of people look into organizers when they're just kind of thinking about it. They're not really sure yet. They've never worked with an organizer before. So the more that we can help them understand what we do and how they can trust us with that, the better, and the more likely that when they are ready to buy, they will come back to us because we've built up that know, like, and trust factor that you were talking about.
Exactly. So I will give you a great example. I was looking for organizing tips and strategies online. And so I was actually going to Google looking for those kind of strategies and what I should do. And when these organizer, businesses would pop up, I would go to their website and I'm just looking for free resources because I'm not at that stage yet where I'm ready to buy. I'm just exploring. I'm thinking like, can I do this myself? Is it DIY possible, or do I need to hire help? And so you're really targeting that group of people when you have a lead magnet so that they can start to get to know your business and what you do and what you specialize in as well. And also to qualify them whether or not they're in that stage and that they really want help or they're just kind of looking for free tips. You can kind of segment them into those categories.
Yeah, well, and the other thing you're doing too is also, maybe their sister or their mom or there's somebody else is actually ready, and maybe, a month or 2 from now, they're having a conversation. Like, you're planting those seeds that in the future can grow is the point of having and helping them with information. You don't necessarily have to be like, "Oh god, now you're talking about email marketing and all the things," which you can for sure. But at least go ahead and start with the freebie, start collecting those emails. Then later, if you decide to do email marketing or a newsletter, then you've already got a list created at that point. But you can still do the freebie without having to feel like you have to start doing email marketing at this moment. So, how can professional organizers use mutual support and the yes ladder in their lead magnet to build trust and get more opt ins?
This is such a great question. And I love talking about this because so many people think that a lead magnet is just about giving away something for something valuable. And then there's really nothing that comes after it. But what it's really doing is you're starting a relationship. So this is where mutual support and the yes ladder come in. And they both tie into what Dr. Robert Cialdini talks about in his work. So he was the founder of the 6 principles of influence. And he's a behavioral psychologist who wrote this book on the psychology of persuasion. So in it, he talks about the 6 core principles that drive people or what drives people to make decisions. And so things like authority, reciprocity, scarcity, and concepts. These are the concepts that I break down for clients. And both of those things are mutual support and building your yes ladder, both of which non-negotiable. So your yes ladder is focusing on getting someone to make a series of small, low stakes, like low pressure decisions that gradually lead into something bigger, like a yes. So something like booking a high ticket organizing package. It could be buying your digital products, like very like low ticket offers. Because if you think about it, people rarely jump from scrolling past your Instagram or your website to hiring you for like $1,000 pantry overhaul. But if you kind of guide them into like a series of like micro yeses, then they're going to feel more confident. They're going to feel like, okay, I'm more invested. I'm ready to commit because I've already made that series of yes to you. And so and the biggest question that I get is like, how do you make people say yes? Or how do you make these like micro commitments to you? And so the simplest way is just to get people to start engaging with your content. If you're using Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is, start getting people to comment, to like, to vote on your polls on your, if you have your Instagram. Get people to download your free resources, getting them to pay for an entry level offer. And then slowly, as they start to look at your work, they start to review it themselves. They start to do their own research. They start to even maybe make comparisons against your competitors. But they start to trust the work that you do because you're providing all of this, really great value. They're going to want to reinvest back into your business. You give away great value, it comes back to you. And so this is where mutual support fits into all of this. So when you give something helpful at first, like a free checklist, a 3-day declutter challenge, it could be a PDF guide for managing paper clutter. Okay, it could be as simple as that. They start to experience a very small win. That is the key there. And naturally, they're going to want to give back. They feel more inclined to say that, you know what, this person is the one that I want to help me because they have given me so much value and I've learned so much. Even doing a few DIY projects on the weekend, I have learned so much that if this is the stuff that you're giving away, can you imagine what your paid package is like? And so that is the kind of thoughts that you want them to think every time that you give them something of value. And so both of these working together help you gain the trust, and it helps you to make those very simple shifts in marketing that are not based on like FOMO or anything or manipulative in any way.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And what I love is that you were saying, the small wins, right? It's even that way in the way that like I do sessions instead of packages, which is what I teach. And with a lot of like it was kind of hitting me as you were talking about it. It's a matter of, the first is just a yes for a simple phone call. Then it's just doing the free in-home consultation. Like it's these small yeses that along the journey are building trust. And then it's doing the sessions one at a time. And what that does is because I've found over time that the easier it is for a simple yes, then you get them those little small wins or the big win in the first session, then they're hooked. Like from then on, anytime they need anything done in their house or they tell their friends or, and even the session I was doing today when I walked in, she goes, "Okay, Samantha, I need some small wins today first." She said, "I'm feeling really stressed about us doing like a bigger area. Could we start with something small?" She was so overwhelmed that and so the second, all we did was clear off her dining room table. And she was like, "Okay, great." And then she was ready to jump into some deeper stuff. And so even in the middle of sessions, that is very true, but it's so true all along the way.
I agree with that. Like, the small wins, and also because you get to know who your potential clients are. And
Mhm.
you get to know their behavior and, what makes them really stressed and overwhelmed. And you can take that information and create very small guides or things that you could tell them to say, hey, like, you don't have to tackle your entire house in one day. You can split it up into small, projects here and there. And so getting to know your clients is really what's going to help propel your business and propel your offers and make you even more successful because you really understand your clients and what they're thinking.
Absolutely. So what's a simple way to show that we are a thought leader and include maybe like a case study or something so that way our lead magnet feels credible? And I love this question because just a minute ago when you were talking about, I don't even know his name, right? But you were like, so and so wrote this book and he was a psychologist. And that's what we're talking about right now. It made it feel so much more like, "Oh, okay, the study's been done or the science behind it's been done," and it gives it that authority that even though you didn't do all of that, you read it, you learned about it, now you're using that to help bring authority.
Yes, and it's a tried and true method that has been done in marketing. And I've taken parts of what he had said and applied it to the funnels and the digital products and the simple things that can help understand your client better. And so I feel like the simplest way to show that you are the authority and that you are a thought leader is to frame your lead magnet as a results backed system. So you're not just providing a collection of tips because anybody can do that on Pinterest. Okay. So what I mean by this is instead of saying, here are 10 ways to declutter, you can say, this is the exact 3-part method I use to help your client go from overwhelmed and stuck to having an organized, peaceful home in just 2 weeks. See the difference because on Pinterest, you're going to see a lot of like, here are 10 ways to declutter. But really, the magic is what is that 3-part method that maybe you've taken from that something that you've read in a book or a study that you've taken, online or something that you've adapted and you've tried it on a client's home and it worked. And you really want to showcase that because that is going to be something that when someone reads that, they're going to be like, wow, I really want to learn that three-part method. And so
Mhm.
as the lead magnets that perform really well are the ones that showcase like a mini case study. So these are like testimonials, except they focus more on storytelling. So the way that I like to structure these case studies is to keep a case study tracker of what stories I could add to my lead magnet. Now, the only way to really do this is to take a look at your previous clients and start to connect with them and have, start to piece together some things that you know have worked and you see a pattern. So with these 5 clients, I did this type of strategy and it worked. And why did it work? And, figure out what was their challenge and then what was the solution that you provided and then what was the result of that, and try to create some patterns around that because I'm sure that you talk a lot about like the signature method or something that is just yours, and that is the kind of information that you want to put in your lead magnet. Because when we think of the person, like the human mind, it's like when we look at something or read something and then we see all the testimonials or we see the case studies of like, this worked for my home, this reduced my stress, this gave me my life back. You're more inclined to want to learn whatever secret is out there. And so there are apps out there that you can use to in your lead magnet where you can have these mini case studies or these things that pop up. So there's something called Proof Source. It's an app that where you can download it and you get like the first one free. And what happens is you create a live opt-in. So when someone opts into your lead magnet, and then someone is viewing your opt-in page, they're going to get a notification at the bottom that says this person has opted in. And so this goes back to this whole narrative, like when you see someone else doing something, you're more likely to want to do it too because you're going to feel like you're missing out. Same thing with the three-part method that I, mentioned earlier. It's like it worked for that person, so it maybe could work for me as well. And that's what drives that curiosity. And so another great app as well, if you're looking to add some testimonials or case studies to your lead magnet, is there's something called Social Juice. So this is an app that helps to create like video testimonials that you can put directly on your lead magnet or in your lead magnet. And it helps to visually see that like, hey, I've helped a lot of clients and this is what happened and this is the method that I've used. And in turn, all of this again goes back to this whole narrative of it creates trust and it builds your credibility as an organizing business, and it really helps your lead magnet become really popular because you have this signature method that's just yours.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of us, like, I know that I used to get stuck in this place, right? I was like, "Oh, a signature series, like, I have to create my own thing and come up with this brand new thing." Well, first off, there's nothing new under the sun. It's okay to take something that not word for word by any means, but take what you've learned from other people on your journey or what I've taught you of how to work with clients, call it your own formula, tailor it for the people that you are trying to reach and call that your signature method. You don't have to like create this brand new thing that no one's ever heard of. That's where I always got stuck when it was like signature method. I was like, "Oh, I need to create something that like no one's ever heard of before." I would get so stuck in that place because I felt like I couldn't kind of borrow from other people even though this person taught me this and this person taught me that. Well, when I put it together, it is my own. It is working with my clients, right? And then as you start working, you do start learning your own ways of working with clients. But before you've worked with a ton of clients, you kind of feel like you don't have your own. And so it's okay to be like, okay, the steps are the phone call, the consultation, this like keep it very simple. Don't overthink it. Do some research and kind of borrow, not again, not word for word, not copywriting, but get inspiration from others. That is okay in my book as
I
we're learning from others.
Yeah, when I first started my business, I was still in the learning phase, and that's totally okay because you experiment. And I think that's the best place to be in. Like if you're new to your business, you not adopt, I mean, you don't steal anything, but you borrow and adopt and you adapt and then you try it on your clients and then you see what worked and what didn't work because a signature process or a method, it works for right now, but as you start to evolve with more clients and more challenges and things that you come across, you're gonna find that your signature method changes and adapts to the industry that you're in and the or the clients that you work with. So, I am never married to a signature process, but I do believe in having a way to do things that is different than your competitor, that works for you and works for your clients and makes your clients happy. So, yes, I have a signature system, but it will adapt as I work with more clients and I, have obstacles that I'm facing and I have to like tweak it and make modifications, and that's totally okay. I feel like I'm constantly in experimental phase and people shy away from that because they think it's like some oh, the most successful business owners are never in the experimental. They're always they've never left. And just get used to just being in that phase because it'll help you really refine your business, but also refine what you offer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so also I had a question. So how would you sprinkle in some like charm and ethical scarcity so your lead magnet feels less pressured to opt in, but yet it will still create urgency?
Yes, this is a great question. And if you've been in the online space for a while or just having a business in general, you're going to notice that quote unquote influencers, they use scarcity and like these FOMO tactics to get people to like move through their funnels. I have a problem with it. And the problem with that I have with it is if it's not genuine, then you're just being dishonest about what you offer. And if you're like me, like I actually don't like using the fear of missing out tactics. So instead of saying like this package that I have expires in 24 hours, like act now, you might say something like I update this free guide every quarter. So depending on when you're reading this version you're seeing right now might only be available for a few more days. So grab it while you can. This will kind of make you feel it might be it's going to feel more playful and honest, and it still gives them a reason to act now. I have I had a previous client who used a variation of this. So she updates it every quarter, and then the previous version is no longer available, and they have to buy the new or get the free guide or wherever she's offering. And I just found that that works so much better than having to have like a timeline or saying that you have to buy from me this moment. Because when you think about it, people need time to think and to consider. And there is a lot of high pressure sales tactics that are being used that I don't agree with, that where, people are taking payments right on the call, or they're making them feel like if you don't purchase with me, you're never going to get this done. Give people the space that they need to come to their own conclusions that this is the right service for them. Because that way you're not going to come against a lot of angst or anxiousness or anxiety when they do decide that, yes, I want to work with you. Now, another way to do that, if you do have any kind of limited time bonuses, like if you wanted to do some kind of ethical urgency, but you don't really want to do like the whole FOMO tactic thing, you can do something called a limited time bonus rather than limiting the lead magnet itself. Because sometimes what people will do is they'll say, I'm only offering this lead magnet for like the first 10 people or 100 people or whatever it is. Instead of Instead of doing that, leave your lead magnet on your website and then just you can add bonuses to your lead magnet if you want. So if the lead magnet is evergreen, which means that like it never disappears, you'll say, if you download this by a certain date, I'll send you a bonus walkthrough video showing exactly how I use my system to declutter your space. And it's like a behind the scenes look that I don't normally share with others. I share this because I want to give you as much value as possible. So saying something like that, it doesn't feel manipulative and you're not deceiving your audience by saying that it isn't true or it doesn't expire. And so when you kind of blend ethical scarcity with charm is getting away from that robotic language you see like in the messaging. Like if you look at a typical sales page in marketing, it is so robotic. Like it feels like it's been made by ChatGPT. And so instead of saying things like download this freebie now, you're going to say this guide is packed with the kind of stuff I usually reserve for paying clients. And so using those types of words to add personality without bland, like that boring messaging that you see on some sales pages, and it'll make everything feel a lot more human and not like totally boring.
Yeah. Well, and then I actually have another question. So, have you found or seen, like, I know for a lot of us, especially when we're first starting out, checklist, something simple is super, like, for sure. But have you found that having like a workshop with the checklist to where it's a video of you maybe teaching or something, some sort of video versus just like an actual download? Do you have any idea of like the difference of how well that kind of converts?
Yeah. So I just, recently just had a client who had she was actually selling the workshop itself. So they would download the lead magnet and then it would go into a different page, like a landing page that they would sell the workshop for like a really, really low price. And you can do something like that, or you can combine the workshop with the lead magnet and offer it for free. I mean, I've seen that being done, but I find that you want to give them something that is a small win. A workshop is great, but they have to watch through it. So you have to think of the mind of the person, right? Are they going to sit down and watch that video? Most of the time, no. They're going to watch the first maybe 10, 15 minutes. I mean, if it's not that long, the most workshops like webinars, they're like half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever it is. You have to think about your clients. Like, what is their time span and what is their capacity to consume that kind of information? More than likely, it's better to just do a quick win type of lead magnet. And then you can offer a workshop where, you're actually showing your method and maybe like a DIY thing that they could purchase as a low ticket and start them off there until they're ready to actually go and pay for a more high ticket package.
Yeah, or even as we're sitting here talking about it, I was kind of thinking, or even if you did more video email instead of doing like, like if it opens up a sequence of for 5 days, they're getting emails, right? If the download is just the quick win, the checklist, but then maybe you have little like 2 minute videos that you put in each email along the way, just to help kind of build, because I feel like people get sometimes build more the more they get to know you. And as a local entrepreneur, sometimes it's hard because we don't have YouTube channels. We don't have, so it's hard to get like video or get in front of them to where they can at least start to trust you a little more. And so I almost wonder if something like that would be, even if it was just one email that had just a quick 2 minute little video of just, hey, thank you so much for purchasing or for, getting my freebie. I just want to say, hi, I'm Samantha, whatever, yada, yada. But at least then they've seen you talking. I wonder if something like that would be beneficial.
Yes, it would, but only for the first 2 emails of an email sequence. So what happens as I have been observing the patterns of email marketing, the first email they will open, the second email, by the third email, you've lost them. So the first 2 emails are absolute importance. So I would, if you're going to put a video in there, put it in the first email as soon as they get it to thank them for downloading your freebie. And here's the next steps. You can still send them emails. They may open it and you have to really check your metrics for your email marketing. But typical behavior is that it starts to trail off. You lose the attention span of them by the third, fourth, fifth. And then at that point, you can still send them emails, but it's not the same excitement. You have to
Right.
work a little bit harder.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, that's great to know. That's awesome. Because I kind of feel that way too. I feel like we're all getting so bombarded with all of this email at this point that it's good to know. And that's a good point of like, even if it was just a quick little thing in that very first email, just thanking them. I think even something that small would be like, amazing to where they could at least see you and talk to you. So I know that you do have a freebie for us. Would you talk about that?
Yes. So I have a free guide. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Increase Opt-ins. And this is where I help you diagnose, fix, and then scale your lead magnet to help you get more clients quickly. Because who doesn't want to speed up the process of knowing what's wrong so that they can move forward in the next step of their business?
That is amazing. Okay, so we will make sure to have the link in the show notes. And then will you tell everyone like where they can find you and about your podcast real quick and all the goodness?
Of course. So my podcast is Brilliant Ideas, and we talk a lot about digital products and also just the ups and downs of running a business, the good, bad, and the ugly. So we talk a lot on there, and I have great guests. So make sure to check that out. And the main way to connect with me is through my Instagram. So it's the at Alyssa Bellisario OBM, and to visit my website, alyssabellasario.com. Those are the 2 best ways to connect with me. Send me a DM. I would love to hear from you.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking all about this. I think this is a super amazing topic, and hopefully we've at least helped a few people along the way. If they have any questions, they can definitely DM you, but all of the links will be in the show notes below. Make sure to go get that her free lead magnet so you can get to know her a little bit better. And thank you so much, Alyssa, for coming on. I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for inviting me on the show today. I appreciate the feature.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, we will catch you in the next episode.